All right. JavaScript, we excited? Yeah, I like that attitude. Let's review. What did we talk about yesterday? JavaScript, HTML, all that good stuff. A little bit of history, Yeah. Anatomy of an HTML element. What do we have here? This whole thing is the element. What's that business between the angle brackets? Tag. Yeah, that's the tag. Right? We got an opening tag, closing tag. What about in between? Hello world. What's that? The contents. Right. Yes, indeed. So class and ID. Those look like similar things. What do we call those things in general? Attributes, indeed. So the class attribute, the ID attribute. We talked a little bit about CSS selector syntax. It's the syntax you use in CSS to identify which elements on the page receive that style rule. And you can use the same thing in JavaScript to select things with query selector. How would I grab this paragraph? By just its element name. What would I put inside the query selector parentheses? I don't forget the ID, forget the class. How would I do it just by its element name? Just P. Yeah, piece of cake. How about by its ID? Hash main, yep. Ooh, what if we wanted it by element name and ID all in one? Maybe, ID is a bad example. I should change this. But suppose I don't want to just get any old element with an ID of main. It has to be a paragraph with an ID of main. Anybody know? Double ampersand, I heard. What's that? Square brackets. Another good guess. What? So that was this one, right? No, what'd you say? P hash main. No space. Space means something else. Right. Just P hash main like that. Thank you. Black laptop. Remind me your name, please. Owen, that's right. Okay, thank you. Yes, I remember. Serious Owen. All right. P hash main. Is everything okay? Okay. Hey, a smile. Good. Okay. I feel better now. That makes me feel better. I'm always, when I'm looking around the room, and then sometimes I get stares back like, it always throws me off a little. I'm like, am I offending somebody? What's going on? All right. Thank you. We're cool, right? Okay. P hash main. Sorry. By class name. Dot, right? Dot instead of hash. Dot greeting. We learned about the DOM. We learned a little bit about manipulating the DOM. So how do we select all elements that match the selector? Query selector all. Just the first match? Query selector. That's right. To actually manipulate the contents of a page, the only thing we really learned about yesterday in any depth was text content, which does exactly what it sounds like. It gets the text content or sets it. You can assign it using an equal sign. And if you do that, it does replace all the contents, including stripping out any HTML tags that happen to be there. So, text content. Very good. Other questions about yesterday? Yeah.
What is the DOM?
Document object model. So it is how the browser represents the page after it parses the HTML. So it's basically, once the page first loads, your HTML is kind of irrelevant. It's built the DOM out of that now. That's how it represents the actual content of your document internal to the browser. And everything you're manipulating, you're not really manipulating the HTML, you're manipulating the contents of the DOM, the object model. Back in the horrible Netscape versus IE days of the 90s, both browsers had completely different object models. There was no standardized DOM. So these are the good days now that we have such a thing. Yeah.
Is it preferable to use like get element by ID or query selector one over the other? Because sometimes, like when I was doing the thing from yesterday, it wouldn't work if I did get element by ID. Then you would need to use query selector.
Were you putting the hash in there?
I believe so.
Okay, if you do get element by ID, you don't need that. You just put the actual ID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it doesn't use selector syntax. You're just tell it the ID.
Okay, so they're pretty much equal.
if you're doing it by ID, it doesn't make much difference. Yeah. Nice thing about query selectors, of course, is it's flexible. You can use any way you have of grabbing the page, grabbing the element from the page. You can use. Yeah, get element by ID has been around a lot longer. Query selector is relatively new. We're talking. I mean, I don't know how long now. It's been a while, but yeah, it's just a new, more flexible way. Yeah, that totally works. So today, more DOM manipulation. We're going to talk in more depth about Git, what the heck it is, what's actually happening when we use it. So, who's excited?